Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn session. Today, we're going to be talking about reimagining your B2B sales process with e-commerce. I'm joined today by Michael Linzar, the CEO and founder of Store Connect.
Thank you for having me on. It's going to be good.
Going to be good, awesome. And my name is Robin Leonard. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AF Digital. Yes, so today we've got a very fast agenda to run through. It's a 30-minute session, so we'll be very quick and we'll allow some time for questions at the end. So I guess we want to talk about the new normal, and it's very much a personal story about our business, AF Digital, and how we went through the COVID pandemic and came out the other side still alive and kicking. We'll do a quick live demo of Store Connect, which is the e-commerce product that we use to kind of reimagine our sales process. And then Michael's going to talk about Store Connect, and then we'll have some Q&A. Great. So AF Digital, we're a Salesforce Gold consulting partner. We're also known as an SI, a system integrator, and we're really here to help clients that buy Salesforce get the most out of their investment with that technology. So often that means integrating it or setting it up. You know, it's all B2B consulting services. We're kind of like, for BMW car owners, we're like the specialist authorized service center for them, except for Salesforce. So very much selling time and material. That's right. I've got a few like that.
Yeah.
So everything we're doing is very much B2B services, and it's very much up to our clients to pay us for that time of our specialist advice. Unfortunately, as COVID hit, I think everyone got a bit of a slap in the face, and you know, we were very much, well, our clients were very much impacted by COVID, so they stopped spending. And because we're a downstream B2B professional service provider, we were very much impacted. Our sales just almost dropped out to the bottom for about 4 months. Also our top industries as well, retail, travel, hospitality, education, they're all massively impacted in all sorts of different ways. And that was just really dramatically affecting our business because that's what we service, that industry. I think during the COVID time, that was really where we had the inspiration to change and to think about what can we do differently to really innovate through this period. And with a bit of research, we found that prior to COVID-19, the sales interactions were largely traditional and manual. So as you were going to buy a service from a professional service provider, you'd expect them to guide you through the sales process as you talk to a salesperson. It's kind of you just expect that as a customer. But now it's totally different. Post-COVID, people expect to do digital enabled sales. You know, they want to self-service that purchase decision and speak to the person at either the start or the end of the process. You know, they don't need to spend so long having a guided tour because maybe they want to speak to multiple vendors at the same time, and it just needs to be efficient. So
that's a really interesting thing, that stat, because the pre-COVID thing sort of almost looks like the trailblazers or the ones wanting that whole digital engagement. And now it's just assumed that you've got it. And if you don't, then you might not even get a look in.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. It's becoming the new normal in terms of the standard or the precedent that's set. So yeah, it's very interesting. And you know, across the life cycle, we see the difference between 2016 to 2019. This is the increase in preference for self-service channels. So it's really shifting all the way through from research, evaluate, order to reorder. And this is again B2B.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, correct. That's right. This was a trend that was happening anyway. So
yeah,
it's an obvious dramatic statistical change, you know, and I think we just need to be aware of that. So I think for a lot of companies, it's been a wake-up call. You know, as revenues have dipped, we've actually been forced to take very extreme actions in some cases. And I think it's good now that we're starting to hopefully come out of it, or it's becoming more normalized. We can now determine what the future looks like. Like many companies, we went through a process and determined a 3-pronged strategy. I'm sure every customer or company had this, which was a respond, adapt, thrive. There were obvious different variations of this. For us, we really want to take this opportunity in this crisis, take the learnings from the previous financial crisis. There's a very famous study by Bain and Company where if you take the right strategies during a recession, you can actually massively accelerate. So they categorize companies into winners and losers. And during the crisis, they grew by 17%. After the crisis, they continued to grow at a slower rate. So there's a kind of it's what's one man's opportunity is another man's whatever that saying is. You know what I mean? So, and then there's losers who didn't really gain much, but they bunkered down and just kept their core strategy. With this as a framework, and it depends on where you are as an organization. If you've got strong financial stability, so on the bottom right, I've got strong financial stability, but I've got weak market share position versus strong market share, weak financial position. Ultimately, or ideally, it would be in this top right corner, we've got capital and good market position, and that's really where you play offense. But this is really, if you play this strategy, this is how Bain and Company have recommended kind of becoming a winner as opposed to a loser. And what this means is really reimagining the business, looking for new revenue streams, fixing your cost model, all of those kind of things. For us as a business, we had issues with our sales process. We had a very difficult learning curve for clients to purchase our products. We're selling digital transformation. It's a dream, but a lot of clients aren't there yet. They don't know what it is, and often for us it sounds very simple when you repeat it, but for them it's a whole new world you're slapping them in the face with. It's also a long sales process. Often a CEO will allocate budget 12 months in advance. Like it takes a long time before there's real investment made in a CX transformation. So for us, we'd have to nurture these sales leads for a very long time, and there's always risk of just forgetting about each other. And they're also high touch as well. And we've got to really talk to lots of different individuals in the organization, but also with partners as well, because we often have to deal with multiple software partners and services partners as part of an organization's transformation. So for us, it's very much we're on the phone all the time and meetings all the time. It's an expensive sales process. So we'd been, prior to COVID, we'd made a huge decision and investment to build a single customer view. We'd done that before, and that was really the foundation that we used to really be able to manage through this process. So what that meant is we put sales, service, marketing, delivery, and finance all inside our Salesforce CRM. And that just means that we've integrated it with the right systems and found AppExchange partners that we can do the work inside Salesforce CRM, meaning it's one system. But then as COVID hit, we were like, well, let's build an e-commerce. It was just the obvious thing to do, a B2B e-commerce to automate the sales process, making it self-service, making it contactless. And that's what we've done with Store Connect, which is what we're talking about today. Our next step is delivery self-service, so that we're taking cost out of the project management with simple things like, when is this due? Who is my project manager? Like those kind of things. We want to make that seamless. So how we did this, it's surprisingly simple. This is what we call a CX architecture. You've got the customer on the right, the people on the left.
Diagrams you make for your clients, by the way. It just simplifies the whole viewpoint. And a lot of customers, I think this would be a really good exercise just to do in itself. How does your client actually talk to your internal team? And what hoops do they have to jump through to get to your internal team? Because you want to make that flow as smooth as possible. And this really highlights it. I love these diagrams.
Thank you, Michael. That's a great compliment.
We've stolen them, by the way. We use them now.
Good. I don't own the methodology, but I did create it. So yeah, so as Michael said, it's really about the data flowing into your organization. So how do these people communicate with each other? What are those bits of technology and how do they relate to each other? And then what are those channels that you need to maintain? So this is our CX architecture for our business. It's very simple. We've got Salesforce Sales Cloud as our CRM and Marketing Cloud. We use that for our marketing. And then we've got a WordPress website, and those leads and contact cases, they come through into our CRM. So that gives us a single view. I've got a bit more detail that I'm not sharing, but this is simply put how we use it. The problem that I found, well, not the problem, my challenge was to find an e-commerce platform that integrated well with Salesforce. Because as I said before, my strategy was to have one single customer view. If I was going to go down a path and create another silo, it's just off strategy and it would create more problems long term than I really needed. I've already got a pandemic to fix, you know. So I went out to market and I did have a look around. I actually went as far as setting up a Shopify store over the weekend because it's something you can do very quickly and easily and low cost. And that was actually a great proof of concept to get my business partners on board with the idea of us going into e-commerce. You know, there were all sorts of conversations around, but you know, what if it won't work for enterprise? It will work for SMB. You know, how will it ruin our channel? And we just made the decision to just go with it and see what would happen. But we looked at all of these platforms, and I think the common issue was we had slightly custom requirements. So we had a requirement to have a subscription billing mechanism. So with Shopify, that required us to get plugins. And then suddenly we had two data models in Shopify that we would have to integrate with Salesforce. So it kind of didn't make sense. And then it was almost a little bit too hard to make it perfect. So I knew that I was just going to have to jig something together to get it to work. But it wasn't going to be a long-term play. I looked into some of the other tools, Magento, which it's not really going down the Salesforce path, given it's been acquired by Adobe. So I can't really guarantee a long-term integration ease. Wix is just very simple. I know it hit limits with what I want to do with that. And then WooCommerce and BigCommerce, they kind of are similar to Shopify in my head. And I could have done that, but I would have equally had to figure out how I do subscriptions and how I integrate it with Salesforce exactly.
I think you hit something on the head there, Robin, that one of the big problems with e-commerce solutions, especially for clients that are on Salesforce or people that are on Salesforce, is there's an underestimation of what it takes to support another system on top of your stack. And you know, you might be able to get up and running very quickly with something like Shopify, and in fact you can. And Shopify is an amazing platform for people that just need an e-commerce site, right? And to go live, and it has plugins with everything. And if you're going to do it all yourself and get it up and running, it's fantastic, and you can scale massively with Shopify. But where the real benefits come in is if you can find a platform that just does this with your existing CRM and stack, and not have to spend that money or have those staff looking after that integration.
Exactly, you're right. There's actually, you're introducing kind of two new components, right? You're introducing an e-commerce and a middleware part, whether it's a bit of custom code or some Zaps and Zapier. You know, you still have to maintain that as a thing.
And everything else that you have to maintain. Who's allowed to delete the product? If the product gets deleted on Shopify, is it still available for your inside sales team? How does that sync up? You have to update the data in 2 locations, all these sorts of things.
Yeah, which are all very much doable. And that's what we provide as a service to a lot of our clients, right? So I'm very aware of the challenges that I was facing. I was like, man, my clients, this is a problem for them, you know, and they do make massive investments in integration. It's actually quite a big cost for organizations. So we did it a little bit differently. And, you know, Michael and I have known each other for years already. And I think I don't know how we reconnected over Store Connect, but I found that he has a product that fits into Salesforce, and it's just, you just install the package and then it's there. And it has the same ease that Shopify had, where I could just do it in a weekend. It actually was, you just install it. Yeah, like it's
I think
literally.
we spoke about it. Like I showed you the product Friday morning and you were live on Monday.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It was just very simple. So this is how the architecture changed. So all it meant is that instead of that WordPress site, I've just got a Store Connect site, which is a managed package that sits inside Salesforce. Behind the scenes, and Michael will probably talk about this, it uses Heroku and it's got all of this other fancy technology, but I don't see that as a customer. All I see is the managed package that I installed from the App Exchange. So it's actually very simple. So that's kind of the basics, and then it comes into my existing CX architecture, like no change, no impact. I don't have to ever worry about any integration. And in terms of the store, there's no other database to manage. Like I don't log into Store Connect, I log into Salesforce. That's the place that I manage Store Connect. And now that's allowed me to open up these new things on my site that I didn't have before, like buy, subscribe. I've now got those features, order management, account management, so that customers can log in and see their account details. So it's all of these things that are just like that, just turned on without me needing to build a login or authentication protocol, or even the integration of user logins between e-commerce and a community cloud. All of those things get taken care of.
It's actually an interesting point that you bring up there, that one of the key aspects that we built around Store Connect is the ability for the customer to self-service. And it's a real driving philosophy of what we're trying to build, because what we want is, we want to build a product that a client can just install, can be up and running, and if they've got resources in-house to be able to build that solution, and by resources I mean a half decent Salesforce administrator and maybe a graphics designer or someone they have on call that they can use, they'll be able to build the whole store. But then on top of that, we enable our partners to work with those clients to really leverage that entire ecosystem and plug it into Marketing Cloud and update all of their internal workflows and how we do order management and shipping and tax and all this sort of stuff. So you can start small and cheap, but it will scale with you all the way up to some very large stores, which I'll show a bit later in this call. But it is very much this idea that we're taking care of all the complexity of how do you get the shop online, how do you keep it online, how do you keep it responsive and fast and quick and all that sort of stuff. And what we're giving you is that admin interface built into an existing platform called Salesforce. So there's very little retraining of staff, all your existing permissions still work, all this sort of stuff. The security model, all of that is just taken care of by that very powerful Salesforce architecture.
Cool. Great. So let's jump into a live demo and show you
Doing it
what it
live.
actually looks like. Do it live. So I'm just going to jump across and disclaimer, if anything breaks, then it's likely
It's a demo.
to. Yeah. So you guys would probably all be familiar with this. It's a list view. This is showing my products. So before Store Connect, before all of this, I used to use the products as to drive my SOWs. So as I do an opportunity, I add products to that opportunity. I use Conga Composer and I generate an SOW based on the products, et cetera, et cetera. So this is my existing product set. I'd already built out these products. All Store Connect does is oops, I wasn't supposed to click that. It actually just put this online, and it just means that if I want to, I can expose this through e-commerce and allow people to buy it directly. So you can see all of these products here. If I go down to maybe Marketing Cloud Power On, I can preview this on the site. So I'm going to load it up. This is a live page based on that product. This text here is the product description. That's the price. We've got the ability to set variants as well. So for me, this is a really great tool. A large part of my quoting process is kind of determining what licenses they've got and what they need for that license. So say if they buy Professional Edition Marketing Cloud and Journey Builder, then we can select that. And if they have CRM, Salesforce CRM, or they just want FTP integration, they can choose one of these, and it'll actually impact the price and also these inclusions. So, and this is all managed in my Salesforce product object. So I don't do anything in here. There's no other CMS, as we said. It's really just in Salesforce. From here, they can add to cart. And then it's just a matter of going through a normal checkout process. And the way I've done it is to keep it, and it's early days, to keep it simple for my customers. It's a $500 deposit, fully refundable, so they can always back out later. But this locks them in, gets them started. It allows them to price up their deal as well. So if they know they've bought Marketing Cloud and Datorama, this is the total cost that project's likely to cost. So kind of it's really useful for everyone, no smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, one of the key things you said there on the product page that really I think bears repeating if you pop back to it is everything that you can see on this product page, from the images to the variants to the pricing to the descriptions to what comes up into what to expect, eligibility, inclusions, exclusions, to the related products at the bottom of the page. Everything in that list is only managed in Salesforce. There's no administrative backend or secret access into Store Connect that is outside of your Salesforce environment. And this is a incredibly powerful feature of the product, because what it means is that all of that data being in Salesforce is available to any other internal Salesforce system or process that you have in place. So if you maybe connected your Salesforce environment up to Xero via Breadwinner or something like that, Breadwinner would be accessing the same price object that Store Connect is accessing at the same time. So if you change that price object once, it's going to impact every future order, invoice, and your Store Connect environment. So all of this stuff can be managed directly in the platform. Also, if your clients log into this page and actually start using it, and they've got their order screen and all that sort of stuff, if they update their contact details, that is updating the account and contact record in your Salesforce environment. So we create it in such a way that this integration goes all the way to the bone. There's no, smoke and mirrors in terms of the integration, or there's no, whoops, actually this bit, you have to go into this other admin interface and update it. Everything you see on this site is managed directly from Salesforce. Even to those logos there at the bottom, Robin actually created that in the afternoon, and I didn't even know he was doing it. He just used our help articles, he figured it out, and boom, it was up. And that was all just clicks, not code, within Salesforce. So this is a really powerful feature of what we're talking about here.
Cool, thank you, Michael. Yeah, and this is actually the standard template. So this is what it looks like without any theme or custom editing or anything like that applied to it. So I was really happy with this, and that was my requirement. I was like, I don't care about it being super beautiful. I just need it to be basic, standard. And this is what I got, which was, I was very happy with this. It's just about now populating it with the content I want to populate it with. And I've got the full control to do that myself, like it's easy in Salesforce. Great. So jumping back to the presentation. So I'll hand over to you, Michael.
Okay, great. So thanks for that, Robin. Yeah, let's go to this first page. So as the founder of Store Connect, just to give you a little bit of background information, Reinteractive's been around for about a decade, just a bit more than a decade. We are a custom application development company. About 5 years ago, we started doing a lot of Salesforce application development, where we would build custom mobile and web apps that connect to Salesforce. And then about 2.5 years ago, I had this idea, hang on a minute, we built, the online store for the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. We've built all these other online stores for other companies. What if we made an e-commerce solution that used our knowledge of how to do synchronization with Salesforce and built a solution that was just an installable package on Salesforce, and make it easy for people to install for as little as, $100 a month? And my initial target was, it needs to be able to be installed by the user. They need to be able to set it up within an afternoon if they know what they're doing. And it has to cost at the most $100 a month to start, right? Obviously there's higher plans, it goes up to 1,000 plus revenue share and all sorts of things, but that's like the minimum. 2.5 years later, I have that product. It's taken a lot of work to build. But when we built Store Connect, we had some basic philosophy guidances that I put down right at the start, and this is baked into the entire package as you go through. So the first thing is we try and really want to use existing data and workflows. And what that means from a customer point of view is that we use your accounts table, your contacts table. They can be multi-contacts or person accounts or whatever. We support all of them. we use your product table, we use your orders object within Salesforce, order items, price books, price book entries, leads, assets. So we really try and use as much of Salesforce as possible that makes sense in order to build out this product. The other key thing we wanted to do is eliminate data silos. And the really naive way of building something like Store Connect would be to build a super powerful Shopify, integration tool or something, right? But the problem with that is that you're making a data silo. You now have two lots of data in the system. Sure, they're in sync, but that synchronization tool could break down for a day and then your online store suddenly is offline. And then when you bring the tool back online, you've got to somehow resolve that synchronization issue. Which one's got the correct data? We just bypass all of that. Your Store Connect store is a copy of your Salesforce database, and the only thing it does really is just writes back orders as they come in. So we're actually in a situation where I could go to Robin's online store right now and click delete on the published store, and 10 minutes later or 15 minutes later have the whole thing relaunched and rebuilt, and it'll be exactly as it was before. This is a really powerful feature of our system. We really wanted to create a single source of truth. Same reason. We wanted to expose all that information from Salesforce. We wanted to be able to integrate easily with the App Exchange. And most of all, we wanted clients to be able to install this quick and easy with clicks and not code. So we showed you Robin's basic site. I just want to show you some others as we go through. So if we go next. I'll do a little couple of features. Actually, just go back one. We'll just do that. Sorry, I forgot that slide was there. So these are just some of the features on Store Connect. I'll be fast on this because we're getting close to time. But it's built on Salesforce, uses the existing systems. We have a complete content management system built into it. So you can have pages, blog posts, articles, the whole lot. You can have multiple storefronts per install. So we're actually talking to one client right now that's got 13 Shopify stores, all managed independently. And we're looking at migrating them to Salesforce and bringing all 13 storefronts onto the one Store Connect install for no additional fee. Multi-region pricing, built-in stock control, discounts, promo codes, shipping and tax, both multi-region. And we also have a full inbuilt CPQ integration. So if you're using Salesforce Cost Price Quote, we automatically integrate with that to show product options. Every Store Connect store also comes with 24/7 support. So these are a couple of the sites that we have. So the first one here is just Mr. Sync. They also wanted a pretty basic design, but they wanted to go online, and we bought them online. We also integrated with their point of sale system, so that worked beautifully. The next one is Ivanhoe Cycles. These guys launched with us. Since they've come on Store Connect, their online store revenue's gone up by about 40 times. So that's been very successful for them. They have quite a lot of products, and they're going gangbusters on it. And then the most recent one we launched was a well-known company called Sharp. So we actually took 6 or 7 different servers and just removed them all into one Store Connect environment. And everything you see on sharp.net.au right now is directly delivered from their Store Connect system. So they do B2B and B2C. So they have different pricing depending on who's logged in and all that sort of stuff. Okay. So in the last few minutes, I just want to go over the roadmap and then some questions. If anyone's got them, you may as well start asking now. So the product roadmap, we're launching this month a self-provisioning system. So you'll be able to just go to the App Exchange and click install, and an hour later be up and running with a live store connected to your live payment provider and accepting payments directly on the site. That is our goal, and we will have that by the end of October. We're building a point of sale system that will be fully integrated with Store Connect and be free to use. So you'll just turn that on. You might ask for setup help or not, but if you know how to do it, you can just turn that on, which will allow you to have an iPad that works in offline mode to do any sort of customer transactions in any sort of retail setting. It could also be a computer, but usually it's going to be an iPad or a phone. Purchase order supply management. We already have stock control, which is a basic ERP, but then we're adding this another level of that. Full liquid theme template customization. So we already support liquid themes, which is the same thing that Shopify use. They created it and it's open source. So we're using it too to just, so people don't have to retrain. But that will be fully customizable next year. And improve our CMS. So currently we've got a simple CMS. It works on records, but we're going to add drag and drop support and all this sort of thing. So you can find a whole heap of data on our help site, and you can obviously reach out on any questions. With that, I think we're 1 minute over, so it's not bad. We started 1 minute late. But if there are any questions, please feel free to ask away. Obviously, we're trying to jam in a big demo in a 30-minute window, and we're more than happy to do complete, 1 hour long deep dive demos for any clients that want to have a look at that.
We've got one question from Amit. Is it only for small business?
No, well, Sharp is not a small business.
So no, it's for all size businesses.
So the answer to that question is a little bit more nuanced. If you're an enterprise customer on Salesforce, you would most likely want to go the Commerce Cloud route, or even like large business. Commerce Cloud's definitely a fantastic solution for that. And they provide, full service integration and all sorts of things. Store Connect is designed for a company that needs an e-commerce experience now. We're talking days, not months. But we can scale very, very large. So as I mentioned, one of our clients that we're talking to right now, they've got 13 Shopify stores, which will all get integrated into the one Store Connect Salesforce environment, saving them, I think, 3 full-time people per year just in keeping those stores up to date, which they're going to redirect those people into marketing and on sales, right? So it's going to make a massive difference to that company. We're talking to another company right now who's going to be bringing on about 50 online stores, all run from the one product set. So where we excel is this, multiple storefronts on the one environment, single point of communication and control. So yeah, it's not just for small business, but it's definitely available.
You've got a couple more questions. Does Store Connect reconcile all the payments, and does this require integration with the gateway, or does that take place in the shopping cart?
So it takes place in the shopping cart, and Store Connect has its own payment gateway integrations. So we have a whole bunch of them right now. I think we support about 7 or 8. And any clients that are coming on, if there's a gateway that's quite popular that is not supported, we just work out that as part of the installation process and get that working for them. So you do need your own payment gateway, be that Stripe or PayPal or eWay or ZipPay or Braintree or whatever. You will need a payment processor, but the experience of making that payment is fully integrated in the checkout process, just as you would expect in any online store. So that's fully integrated. All the payments that come in then appear on the order object within Salesforce, and I can show that in a demo if you'd like afterwards, whoever asked that question. But the payment record appears on the order with the payment processor, the amount, the response codes, all that sort of stuff, so that you can then use that to reconcile to other systems like your accounting system or whatever else by building that workflow or a trigger within Salesforce.
Cool. One more question. What's the difference with Salesforce e-commerce cloud and Store Connect? Big question.
Yeah, this is a really good question. So Salesforce have Commerce Cloud, and really the major difference is sort of twofold. One, Commerce Cloud is definitely targeted towards the larger, big size online stores that need to get, a full scope of business solution that's launched. Store Connect is much more targeted to the clients that just need to get up and running with e-commerce and have sort of a one-stop solution that's a lot more self-service. So Commerce Cloud is much more of a managed process installation. Store Connect is much more I've got some resources, I know how to do it. I might just select a random partner, Salesforce partner that knows or is familiar with Store Connect, such as AF Digital, and get it installed and up and running. So we're really just hitting 2 different market segments. If Commerce Cloud and Store Connect are in the same room with a customer, one of us is in the wrong room, just in terms of revenue and all that sort of stuff. So think of Commerce Cloud as the full enterprise solution that sort of targets mid-market and up, and Store Connect's definitely targeting that smaller end of town. I can tell you, you're not going to get a Commerce Cloud installation for $1,000 a month, but at the same time, you're not going to get the full Commerce Cloud experience and solutions for Store Connect at $1,000 a month, right? So there's definite differences, and we can go over them in a direct call, but they're complementary products. We actually have one client who has Commerce Cloud installed, who's looking at putting Store Connect in for a couple of pop-up stores that they need, where they don't want to do another whole Commerce Cloud installation for 3 months, because that would just not make sense. So we work with, not against Commerce Cloud. It's just they're different market segments.
Great. That looks like all the questions we have. Awesome. Well, thank you guys, everyone. Really great webinar, and we'll make sure there's slides are available. There's also a recording that'll be on our YouTube and sent out. Yeah, happy Friday.
Great. Thank you very much for attending. Catch you all later, and we're very interested in doing any sort of demos or one-on-ones for anyone who's interested. So we'll follow up with you, and have a great weekend or long weekend if you're in Sydney. See you later.